It's amazing, Balaji, that Indian parents are criticized heavily for wanting their kids to study engineering. I guess the happy accident and the upside of this generational emphasis on sending your kids to engineering college from since they're 4 days old is now that we have the nation with the highest number of engineers ever, the fastest growing country by open source contribution, and 1 million engineers passing out every year, which kind of lines up with the world where networks are more important than countries, and those networks are built by engineers and coders as opposed to the statesmen or founding fathers of a country. Just this middle class aspiration of having your kids do engineering ended up in this happy accident where India might be at the forefront of this global decentralization.
Yeah, and the thing about this is also, so obviously I'm super bullish on doing engineering. I actually think Indian parents should get praise for doing that,
So hyper focus on this competency.
Yeah. Listen to them on that one. Okay, but I'd say a few other things.
Tanmay, you and I are in GMI.
Yeah, so one thing about it is India is not. It's doing way better than I thought it was, but it's nowhere near competitive with China on physical manufacturing. But if you think about what's next, but what's next, just being good at software may be sufficient by 2050 or so. And the reason is all kinds of physical production will get automated via robotics. Everything in the physical world becomes like, the concept of a printer, right? You hit a button and an electromechanical process begins where clank and a physical paper is printed out with some markings on it, right? Generalizing the concept of printing, when you hit enter and today, like a Grab or Uber Eats delivery person comes to your door, every aspect of that can be turned into robotics, from growing the food on the farm to loading it in the truck to a delivery robot coming to your door. And you can eventually think of that as like printing, like an electromechanical actuation process, just one that's more sophisticated than a few wheels, turning on your table, but rather a bunch of robots acting in synchrony. All labor can become capital. When that happens, being really good at engineering, that just gets higher and higher and higher leverage. What I just described, that robotic world, is not just a world of like food delivery, but it's a world of, like warfare. It is, with drones, it is agriculture, it is manufacturing. So just being really good at software is going to keep having compounding returns. And so that's important. But the other thing is, if quote technical outsourcing, so to speak, has been around for a while, and now it's not just outsourcing, of course, Indians are founding their own things. They're actually the ones who are giving, folks jobs around the world. It's not just technical outsourcing, it's verbal outsourcing that is about to happen, because all of this, as I mentioned, American media has just declined, plummeted. Everybody's just saying the same dumb woke stuff, and all these niches have opened up, and Indians don't have baggage. And if you make a global product, not something that is, Bollywood and yoga, like that's all fine. Look, nothing wrong with your culture, but it's just something for sort of the back of the house. That's your internal conversation. Okay. You don't have Chinese characters in every chair that you're buying that was made in China. And they're not ashamed of their culture, but they're also not putting it in your face necessarily unless you want it, right? So verbal outsourcing, verbal competition, that's the other half. For those people who aren't good at engineering, well, get good at content. And content is actually as important as engineering nowadays, because every new company, the founding influencer is on par with the founding engineer. Today it's founding engineer and founding influencer building a company. Tomorrow it may be founding influencer and founding engineer building a country. That's this book I have coming out called The Network State. And I'll come back to that. So now the software strategy. Basically, what Indians should pursue, they should just start with what India does best and use that to go into various different areas. I came up with like software plus media, plus money, manufacturing, medicine, Mars, and multilateral institutions. India becomes a media superpower does not mean Bollywood trumps Hollywood. It means new world-class Indian startups in pro-tech media and academia. Okay, so we have proof points. Of course, there is Bollywood, there's Saja, like South Asian Journalists Association in the US. There's like the animation market. So there's proof points that Indians can do world-class stuff, very popular stuff. And the collapse of the US media is this is just what happened in the early 2010s, but it's not just an economic collapse. It's like a spiritual collapse. It's a reputational collapse. U.S. media is declining as, kind of tech rose. And so the alternative vision that India could put out there is the bright sun to the West black mirror. Why does the West produce all of this dystopian content? It's because these guys in media, their future is worse. American media, their future is worse. Okay? That's why they're making all this Black Mirror stuff. That's why they think the future is worse. But there's an obvious flip, which is with Black Mirror, whenever you watch one of those episodes, the implicit stolen base is that things were fine and these tech guys invented something and the world got worse. That the stolen base is that they're implying that your present life is okay and it's the future that's a dystopia. Bright Sun says, hey, our present life is poverty. Our present life is a dystopia, but our future could be bright. Yeah, we're poor, but we can make it. Yeah, like things are hard today, but we can make it in the future. This is a globally appealing vision. And this, by the way, is what America used to be for the world. It used to be optimistic. It used to be Top Gun. That's what it used to export, the can-do positive spirit. It's